Hello friends, welcome back to the video series Learn HTML5 in a Day. In this video, we will discuss on the form, that means how the form is created in HTML. So practically what a form is? A form is the usual way information is gotten from a browser to a server. HTML has tags to create a collection of objects that implement this information gathering. The objects are called the widgets, widgets, or controls. Example like radio buttons, checkboxes, text, password, reset button, submit button, like. All control tags are the inline tags. Most controls are used to gather the information from the user in the form of either text or button selections. Every form data requires the submit button. When the submit button of a form is clicked, the form data is encoded and are sent to the server for processing. So first one is the form element. All of the widgets or components of a form are defined in the content of a form tag, that means FORM. The only required attribute of form is action, ACTION, which specifies the URL of the application on the web server, that is to be called when the submit button is clicked. If the form has no action, the value of action is the empty string. The method attribute of form specifies one of the two possible techniques of transferring the form data to the server, get and the post. The method attribute specifies how to send form data to the server. Default is get. In both techniques, the form data is coded into a text string when the user clicks the submit button. This text string is often called the query string also. Let us check how we can write down the form tag. So for that, at first we are removing this table tag. Suppose we are writing the form in a paragraph. So that's why the p tag is necessary here. Then we are giving the tag of form. So that is form and then action. Here we have kept the action as blank. So that's why we have given only the double quote, and between the double quote there is blank, or simply nothing has been given. That means after pressing the submit button there would be no clickable link. So that is how we can simply write down the form tag. So that is the start of the form tag also. Next one tag is the input, INPUT. Many of the commonly used controls such as text, passwords, checkboxes, reset, submit, radio buttons, etc. are created with the input tag. So the type attribute of the input specifies the kind of widget being created, such as checkbox, text, password, radio button, etc. All the previously listed controls except the reset and submit also require a name attribute, which becomes the name of the value of the control within the form data. The controls for checkboxes and radio buttons require value attributes, which initializes the value of the control. The text boxes as well as most other control elements should be labeled. So that's why we have label, that tag also required. After some time, we would discuss once more by practical way what is the meaning of the input tag. Next one is the text. Text control is often used to gather information from the user, such as the user's name or address. So what a text control is practically is? It creates a horizontal box for text input. Default size is 20. It can be changed with the size attribute. If more characters are centered than will fit, the box is scrolled shifted left. So here, suppose we are typing the text, and for that we need the tag that is called input. Then we are writing type, that means what type of input is it. So type is equal to, at that moment we are providing, it is a text type control. Then we have to provide the name already described earlier. Then suppose we are giving it a name is phone, and another one we are providing here, that is size of the text box, and here we are providing it with the value suppose 25. By default the size is 20. So here after that a backslash and end of tag. Let's save the file at first and then check what the output is really here. So refresh it and we can see here for the input type text, here a text box has been provided. So the first one tag must be the form, then the action, here that one has been kept as blank. Then we are providing a control, that is text control, and the input type is equal to text, name is equal to phone, and the size is equal to 25 here. Suppose we are providing the size here 40. Let's save it and refresh. So here we can see already the length has been increased. If you don't want to allow the user to type more characters than will fit, set max length, which causes excess input to be ignored. So here we can use another one, that is after the size we are providing the max length, length, and we are providing it is equal to, suppose here also we are providing the 40. Let's save it and refresh, and the same output, but here the max length means after the 40 character there would be no input from the user. All the other input after 40 characters would be ignored. If the contents of the text box should not be displayed when it is entered by the user, a password control can be used. So here once again we are providing another one input type, and here Control C and Control V for the paste once again. Here we are providing the type is equal to text, but that is of type password. Then name is equal to, suppose we are providing here the name as my pass. Then size is equal to, suppose we are providing here 20, and max length is also 20. Let's check what happens after saving the file. Another text box would be here. So we are here with another text box. Let's check if we type anything here, what should happen. We are typing here A, B, C, D, E, F. So each and everything is possible here. But if we type like that, and after that the 40 characters, all the others inputs would be ignored. Now here, when we are typing something in the password, suppose A, B, C, D, let's check. Here the characters we type in the password text box practically with the some other special characters, not visible. If we want to visible it, then we can find it here. So in this case, regardless of what characters are typed into a password control, only bullets or asterisks are displayed by the browser. So the type text and the type password both are text type or text control, but the visibility is different. The next one control is the checkbox. It is used to collect multiple choice input. A checkbox control is a single button that is either on or off, that means checked or not. Every checkbox requires a name attribute and the value attribute, which is the widget's value in the form data when the checkbox is checked. A checkbox that is not checked or off contribute no value to the form data. To initialize a checkbox to checked, the checked attribute of checkbox must be set to checked. Now the checkbox should appear in the label elements. Let's check once again. We are here with some practical way to input some checkbox. As already described, we need the label, that means label. Then end of label tag, and here we are providing some input for the type of checkbox. So here we are providing input, then the type, and here the type is known as checkbox, end of double quote. Then we need the name. So here we are providing the name, suppose as groceries. Then we need the value, and here we are providing the value, suppose as within double quote milk. Then we have to provide checked or not checked. At that moment, suppose we are providing it is checked. Then end of double quote, a backslash, and end of the tag. Then we have to provide what should be the written text after the checkbox. Here we are providing the milk, and end of the label. Already the label is end tag here. In the same way, suppose we want more checkboxes. So we are copying it and Control V, and another one, that is Control V. At that moment, the first one was milk. The second one, input type is the same, checkbox. Name is equal to always the groceries. Then we are providing the value as in place of milk, suppose that is bread, and checked or not checked. Here we are providing not checked, so we are removing the checked, that particular property, and here we are providing in place of milk, that is bread. End of label tag. Then another one, label input type must be checkbox, name based on groceries, value. Now suppose we are providing eggs, and here once again we are providing checked is equal to checked, that means that must be checked. Then we are giving the name of that checkbox as eggs. So save it. The file has been saved. Now check what is happening with the output, and here we can see the first one checkbox was milk, and as it has been written as checked is equal to checked, so that's why it is checked. Next one, the bread, but no checked condition has been provided here, so the bread is not checked here. The third one, eggs, but that is checked. So the eggs are checked here. Let us just change it like that way. Here we are providing the eggs as not checked and we are providing the bread as checked. So Ctrl S to save the file, and now once again refresh the browser. And here we can find as the milk is checked, so milk is checked, bread is checked, so bread is checked, and eggs are not checked, so that's why the eggs are not checked. The next one are the radio buttons, closely related to checkbox buttons, except that only one radio button can be checked at a time. Every time a radio button is pressed, the button in the group that was previously on turned off. The type value for the radio buttons is radio. Every button in a radio button group must have the same name. Suppose once again we are providing the radio button in the practical way. So here after the check boxes we need once again the label, that particular tag. So here we are typing label and here end of label tag, and after that once again the input type. So input, and here the type must be of radio, within double quote write down radio. Then it need a name, and the name is here. Suppose we are providing the age, and then it need the value, and here we are providing the value, suppose under 20, and once again suppose checked or not. So CHECKED, checked is equal to, at that moment suppose we are providing it as checked within double quote, and then end of tag, and here we are providing 0 to 19, that means under 20, end of label tag. In the same way we can add more radio button or radio control. So here we are copying it and pasting, but here the first one input type, so the starting tag must be there. Here the type is equal to radio, the name is equal to age. Now the value we are providing here, that is between 20 to 30, and the checked must be not there, because in the case of radio button only one should be checked, and we are providing not 0 to 19, here 20 to 30. In the same way for the next input type, it must be radio, name, age, value not under 20, suppose we are providing here, that is 30 to 40, and also it must not be checked. That is the difference between the radio button and the check boxes. More than one check boxes can be checked or not checked, but in the case of radio button only one is selected. Suppose in the form you have to select the sex, it may be a female, it may be a male, so you cannot select male and female both. So that is the use of the radio button, only one is selected. So here we are providing 30 to 40. Save it and let's check what happens with the output. And here we can see 0 to 19 as it has been checked. So 0 to 19 is checked here. Suppose we are providing at that moment the checked, Control X to here, Control V, save it, and you can see now 20 to 30 that should be checked. So let's refresh it, and here we can see 20 to 30 is the selection here. Now the next one control are the menus. Menu is created with the select tag, SELECT. There are two kinds of menus. Those have behave like checkboxes and those that behave like radio buttons, the default. A menu is specified with the select tag. Now what is the meaning of the previous line? That means in the case of menu, we can select more than two lists or we can select only one among the lists. So a menu is specified with select tag. The name attribute of select is required. The size attribute of the select can be included to specify the number of menu items to be displayed. The default is 1 in the select tag. If size is set to greater than 1 or if multiple is specified, the menu is displayed as a pop-up menu. If no size attribute is specified, the value 1 is used. Each item of a menu is specified with an option tag, OPTION, whose pure text content is the value of the item. Let's check what is happening with the menu item, and that should be after the label or the checkboxes. And we can also use, it's better that after the first text we are using a break here, and after the second password text we can use another break here. Save it. Let's check what is happening. So we can see the checkboxes are on the next line of the next text box, and also for the break we can use after the checkboxes. So here the radio button starts. So Control S to save the file, and you can see the checkboxes are on the next line. So also we are using the break here for the better view of the menus. So save the file at first and then we are typing. For the menu we have to type select. Then we have to provide the name, and here we are providing the name as groceries within double quote, end of tag, and obviously the end select tag is here. So in between the select tags we have to type option, and option, suppose we are providing milk at first, then the same we have to type. So we are copying it, Control V, Control V and Control V, and the second one suppose we are providing as bread. The third one we are providing here, suppose eggs, and the fourth one suppose we are providing here the cheese. Save it, and let's check what is happening with the output. So here we can see a menu has been provided in the HTML form, and if we click on that particular arrow type sign, we can see the milk is the first one, the bread is the second one, third one is the eggs, and the fourth one is the cheese. So that is particularly what a menu is. And here we have provided with size equal to 1 the default. Now before the select, suppose here we are writing with size is equal to 1 and within the parenthesis we are writing the default and save it. Refresh and we can see with size is equal to 1 the default we have the menu like that. We can scroll down and suppose we are clicking on the bread, so the bread has been selected. Now suppose we are changing the size and here we are changing the size with 2. So here we are writing size is equal to 2 and in place of the default suppose here we are writing specified and where we have to provide the size is equal to 2. Let's save it and refresh and here you can see the size has been specified to, that means milk and bread both are here. If we don't provide the size here and control S, only 1 is the default size, that means only 1 has been provided in the list or in the menu. Now when we are providing size is equal to 3, that means the 3 items would be provided in the menu at once. Let's save it and refresh and you can see the 3 items has been visible here with the scroll. Now the next one are the text areas. Text area is created with the text area tag, that means TEXTAREA tag. It is used when multi-line text area is needed. Now look at the text type and the password type. Only one line input is possible. But in the case of text areas, multi-line text input is possible. So it is used when multi-line text area is needed. It usually includes the rows and columns attributes to specify the size of the text area. Default text can be included as the content of the text area here. So let's check what is happening with the text area. And after the menu, here we are providing another break for better view of the text area, and now we are providing the text area. So here we need text area, then we need a name of the text area, and suppose here we are providing subscribe, end of double quote, and then we are providing rows equal to number of rows is equal to suppose 3. Then we are providing the COLS for the number of columns we required, and here suppose we are providing equal to 40, end of double quote, and obviously end of tag. So the end tag text area must be there. Now we can provide the B brief. That means that should be the default value. Let's save it and check what happens with the output. Refresh it and here we can find B brief has been the default. Now if we want to type something, we can do it. So first one, suppose we are writing subscribe, then enter. Suppose comment, and suppose the third one like. If you press enter, you can also find another end. So here please give your valuable comment, but that must be also with the maximum column value 40. So in the case of text box, if we want to type something A, then press enter, there should be no extra line added here. But in the case of text area, multi-line input is possible if we provide the rows as tail and save it and output. We can check the text area has been increased from number of 3 rows to 10 rows. Now, the final one are the reset and submit buttons, and practically the action buttons. Both are created with the input tag. And how it can be possible, and after the text area we are providing another break for better view. And here we are typing input, and here we are writing type is equal to within double quote. Suppose the first one is the reset, end of double quote, and we are providing the value is equal to, suppose that is reset form. Now after the reset form that has been written, we have to provide the slash, and after that the end of double quote, and here end of tag. Then another input type, that is input, and here the type is equal to the submit. So we are writing submit, end of double quote here, and we have to provide the value also here. Value is equal to, we have submit form. Again after that the backslash and end of double quote and end of quote. Now save the file and let's check what should be the output. Refresh the browser, and here we can see the reset form or submit form, both are visible here. So there is a wrong thing. We have to provide the backslash, not here. So press Ctrl S to save the file, and here we have the reset form and the submit form, and we can provide the backslash here. There should be the backslashes. So Ctrl S and refresh, and here we are with the right code. So practically the submit has two actions: encode the data of the form and send it to the server, and request that the server execute the server resident programs specified as the value of the action attribute or form. And a submit button is required in every form. So without submit button there should be no form, because we want to get the data and to send the data to the server. So without the submit button that is not possible. And the reset button is used to reset the form data to its initial value. That means if it is blank, the form is blank at first, and we have types wrong, the complete data wrong, then we can use the reset form to reset the complete data. Let's check. We have provided A here, and suppose 30 to 40 here. We have checked the bread here, and we have written AA here. So reset form simply resets all the thing. At that moment we have in the form no action method, so the submit form cannot work. That means the data should not be submitted to any other server. So that is how we can create the form in HTML. In the next video, we will discuss on very interesting fact, that's how we can use the audio and video elements in HTML. That means how we can play any audio file or video file through the browser using HTML5.